Alright guys, let's talk about KAITO for the first time since May the 13th. That's actually this candle right here, guys. And you can see it did have some better days for a few more days after that, really. And about the 27th or 28th of May, it started to form this resistance. Now, it did try to break out back in July. It also tried to break out earlier this month. And there is good news for KAITO holders. Now, I'm not a KAITO holder. But I don't think this is a bad project. That's why I'm covering it. And yeah, it did kind of break out yesterday. Didn't quite come back to touch this trend line, but it got pretty close. I would say this is probably close enough, guys. And it has gotten quite a bounce here. Now, it is trying to get across the $1.47 mark at the moment. So again, this is Sunday night, and we're only about a few hours away from closing the weekly candle. Let's see if it has enough strength to push up another, 2 cents? If it can do that, that would be excellent. That would actually seal this $1.47 as support. Plus, it gets us into this next Fibonacci, which probably more than likely, it's at least going to cross this Fibonacci. But I'm not sure it's going to, get this extra push right now to get above $1.47. But again, we do have to take a look at some of these indicators and we can make a decision. Looking at the volume profile, guys, there is a huge wick over here. It goes up to about $8. We don't really need to look that high. As we can see, most of the volume drops off around $3. Now, we are just above the point of control. The point of control is $1.25. And KAITO is clearing the largest candle of volume right now. So this is a good sign. If it can hold this, at least on a weekly candle, that would be very good. Now, it does need to get above about $1.75 here to clear this third largest candle. And a major drop-off will occur at about $2.08. After that, it just kind of, stair steps up. And like I said, above like $3.07, there's really no volume. Looking at the Bollinger Bands, these really just started forming back in June, so it doesn't really have that much information, but they are coming in on each other, but again, they're still quite wide at the moment on a weekly time frame. Now, the daily time frame, let's take a look here. It's not really that narrow, so it was actually more narrow back in the beginning of September, and that may have helped the price action a little bit, but you can see it's quite wide here. And for most of its history, it looks like it was pretty wide, like an intestine, I like to say. So anyways, I don't think this price action is due to any Bollinger Bands pinching together. Now, when it comes to the stochastic and RSI on a weekly time frame, you can see the weekly has actually just really started printing, so you don't get too much information, but it does look like it's pointed pretty heavily to the upside. RSI also, but let's look at the daily. Stochastic and RSI, they're getting both to a point where it's almost overheated here, but still it can, run up a little higher. So it's still in neutral territory on both. So it looks good in my opinion for now. Now the 4-hour time frame coming down. Actually, the blue line has just crossed the red line here in stochastic, unfortunately, and RSI pointed down as well. So overheated on the 4-hour time frame. The 1-hour time frame, actually, it's probably about to turn around here on the stochastic. So even though this blue line just crossed this red line to the downside, it really can't go down too much more. Of course, it can go down a little bit more, but yeah, eventually it will turn back around. Now, the RSI is also pointed down here, but again, it's in neutral territory. So let's see what happens. But I do think the 1 hour will turn around soon. Now, the 15-minute time frame, relatively short time frame, not really that reliable either. The longer term time frames are more reliable, but the blue line is about to cross this red line back to the upside, it looks. So RSI a little bit flat, and it looks like on the shorter term time frames we're probably going to get a little bit of a turnaround here. But again, the 4-hour didn't look so hot because it's overheated, like I said, but the daily is also pointed up. So most of these time frames look pretty good. Just that middle term time frame, 4-hour, needs a little bit of a cool off. So in my opinion, it probably is possible that it could claim this $1.47 tonight. I would be really, satisfied. I would be really happy, especially for KAITO owners, if it did clear this and hold it. The next resistance after that is $1.56. Then you have $1.66, and then you got to clear the Fibonacci at about $1.71. Now on the weekly MACD, there really isn't anything printing, but let's look at the daily here. Now we are just getting out of this small red period here. It looks like the blue line has crossed this red line just yesterday. So it does look like there's about to be a green wave here. We also have a dark green candle. So yeah, guys, momentum for KAITO is probably, looking good as it's to the upside. Now, looking at tokenomics of KAITO here, it's the number 235 project. It's up about 21% today. Max supply, this is one reason why I do like it. It's only 1 billion tokens, and circulating is quite low. Now, that does have some good and bad, because that means they can dilute more, of course, as they issue more coins, but it also, is very good that it's very low supply and it can run up, faster. So keep that in mind. Now, all-time high here, it says $2.88. That must have been the closing candle, because on Binance it has up to like $8 or something. It got up to, but hey, it's only about half down at the moment. So that actually isn't bad when you're thinking about which coins, are closest to their all-time highs. Because, yeah, once they break their all-time high, they can run a lot faster and harder. Now, like I said, $8 was technically the all-time high, but that probably didn't close, of course, at $8. Probably closed around here. So, yeah, this is not a bad deal. I do think you're going to see a lot higher prices on KAITO. If I had to guess, with this low supply, it could even get up to like $8 to $10, honestly. All-time low, if you bought it 5 months ago, wow, you did pretty well. You bought it at 67 cents, and you've already made about 120% at the moment. Now, before I go a little farther in this video, guys, you can claim some bonuses on my favorite crypto exchanges below. I actually have exchange partnerships with Bybit, Bitget, MEXC, BingX, Bitrue, BTC, WEX, CoinEx, and guys, if you want to get Mudix, you can find it here. There's a free 7-day trial. Plus, I actually have a partnership with the cold wallet here, CypherRock. You get 17% off if you use this link. And guys, you can follow me on X here. Bitcoin is getting a little bit of life this afternoon and evening, guys. It actually did get a bounce off this 109.205 mark. Now, keep in mind, we're sitting at 110.5. But if we go to this is the CME. It actually closed at 109.770. Now, what's on spot price, for example, on Binance, and what's on the CME is totally different, guys. But we have to consider there's going to be probably a gap. Now, that gap is about, let's say, $800 at the moment. It's not significant, but those gaps tend to get filled. So let's see where this closes, but I would like to close, closer to this. And, it would be a little bit better, because probably we're going to fill that gap eventually. So right now, it's actually going up. But there is resistance here at 112.450 on a daily time frame. Now, Bitcoin monthly returns, it's only up about 2% this month, and there's still a couple more days. But it's not the greatest month we've ever had for September, but it's definitely not the worst either. Now, if we look at the quarterly returns here, basically we're up about 3% on the quarter, and Q2 being about 30%. So still, you didn't do bad if you held Bitcoin. But guys, if you look at Ethereum, it's still up quite a bit. Now, it was up a lot more before, but this is, about 100% or so. So that's not bad. If you put your money, if you switched it from Bitcoin to Ethereum in Q2, well, you probably made a lot. Speaking of Ethereum, we do have a bit of a bounce today, so this is actually a good sign. We're sitting at $4,050 at the moment, but like I said, guys, I would like to get out of this box. That would be the best case scenario. Really, if we can get above about 4,100 before tonight, I think that would be ideal. I just don't think that's probably going to happen. But let's see. You just never know. We're pumping tonight as it is, and we still have several more hours on the candle at least. Now, if we look at the week, this is what it looks like. So it does kind of have a long wick, but I would like to see a little bit more of a wick. Although this is still very ugly, unfortunately. Total market cap here is at, 3.77 trillion. We still have about 3.5 hours. I would like to reclaim 3.8 trillion if possible, this line right here. But again, it is Sunday. We can't really ask for too much on the weekends, guys, unfortunately. Now, if we go to the total market cap excluding Bitcoin, finally pushing above this 1.55 trillion mark. We're still within this channel too, so that's actually a good thing. If we zoom out, we can see that. And we did, have a little bit of a fake out here, but now the next resistance is 1.62 trillion. Like, it's just this number keeps coming up all the time. It seems like we're forever fighting 1.62 trillion. As I've said in the past couple of videos, though, we're probably going to lose 58.12% when it comes to the Bitcoin dominance, unfortunately. But, hey, we're just kind of consolidating here still. But let's see what happens tonight. You just never know what can happen. Sometimes I say something and the next morning I wake up and, quite the opposite has happened. So let's see. But I do think we are going to lose 58.12%. But the good thing is this is still resistance. But the more we hit this, the less resistance it poses. Now, if we go to the USDT dominance, it, is actually getting a rejection here at 4.7%. And but it's broken through several resistances here, unfortunately, and we still have 3.5 hours. But yeah, I just think we're going to lose probably these 3 levels at least. If we can, I would like to see us at least fall under 4.58%. But who knows what's going to happen in the next 3.5 hours. Altcoin season index has bounced from a 71 to a 73 from this morning. So we're very close to altcoin season again. We just keep kind of bouncing around the 75 mark, but that's fine, guys. And as you see here, let me just pull this over. We don't see that wick up to 100 anymore. So we did see that, about a week ago or so. And yeah, apparently that was probably just a glitch, I guess. So we've only been as high as about 80, 82 or so around here. But yeah, we did have that wick up to 100, and it only lasted for like several minutes. I even put it on Twitter, actually. You can go there and look. But anyways, we're sitting just below altcoin season right now. Liquidation heat map at 148 million, which has been wrecked in the last 24 hours. Not that bad, guys. Fear and greed, 37 today, did come up from a 33. So we have the next update in about 3.5 hours here. And the bull market peak indicator, still 0 from 30, have been hit. So it's still 100% hold. And the Pi cycle top indicator, guys, still quite far from crossing. Actually, was it 55.7% progress. As for the economic calendar this week, we do have a couple of speakers speaking tomorrow. Tuesday, we have just one speaker, it looks like. HPI numbers, Chicago PMI, consumer confidence, JOLTS job openings. We also have ADP non-farm employment change. We have PMI, ISM numbers. Thursday, jobless claims, factory orders, and Friday is the biggest day. We just have one speaker, but we have average hourly earnings, non-farm payrolls, probably the most important thing tomorrow. Private non-farm payrolls. We also have the unemployment rate. We have PMI numbers, ISM numbers. So very big day on Friday. Now, remember, on Friday, Moodyx actually showed risk-on sentiment. The trend was growing. We did have a positive Friday. They start measuring news again tomorrow. Now, FedWatch Tools is showing about a 90% chance that we're going to get a quarter-point cut, 10% chance that we're not going to get any cut. Polymarket differs a little bit, as you see the chances here, with actually 50 BPS decrease at 4%, and actually a 1% chance that we're going to get an increase, it looks like. So, Trueflation here actually showing around a 2% inflation, so that's what the Fed wants to see. Crypto bubbles looking pretty good the last hour and day, but the week is still down, guys, so not too good. I do have several $1,000s down from earlier in the week, unfortunately. If we look at CoinOndo, basically if you search KAITO, let's see what comes up. Maybe they do have something, maybe they don't. I guess they don't have anything because it's not popping up. And for example, if you want to search for Tron, yeah, actually it may not be working anymore. So anyways, guys, you probably have to go to Coins or something like this and do a search again. I don't know why this website always has some problem, guys. But anyways, it's not my website. So if you like this video, guys, like, subscribe, activate the bell, share this video with friends. Guys, please use those links down below if you want to sign up for one of the exchanges I have a partnership with. It really helps me out. I get pennies, guys, really. Unless you're trading, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, I'm getting pennies. So really, I appreciate those who have been using my links, though. And guys, I will see you in the next one.